Thank you everyone for joining. Welcome again. You are here for Safer Learning Simplified, Connecting IT in the Classroom. My name is Katie Fritchen. I am the VP of Marketing here at Managed Methods, and we will be sharing with you today some information on how our products will help you connect cybersecurity, student safety, and classroom management. Couple of quick housekeeping items. Yes, this webinar is being recorded. We'll email it to you as soon as it's ready. Please submit any of your questions into the Q&A panel, and we will get to those probably mostly during the demo section. And then we also have the chat available to you, so feel free to use the chat to provide any thoughts, insights, feedback, etc. And then, yeah, all attendees are muted. So again, use the chat and Q&A panel there. My name is Katie Fritchen, not David Watt. I am, like I said, the VP of Marketing for Managed Methods and a dog mom. I am joined today by our manager of the product specialist team, Charles Mogan. I think a lot of you, especially if you are current customers, know and love Charles. He is the man behind the product for a lot of you. And then I'm also joined by Skip Cooley. He is, I don't know, I think the newest member of our team. Skip is joining us today from the product specialist team as well. So they'll be jumping in on the demo section and answering all your guys' questions. So we're going to do a quick swing today through why this discussion matters now, where there's a disconnect, and how unifying your Google and Microsoft security, student safety, and classroom management will help you and your district. Of course, the main event will be product demos, and we'll also have a Q&A. Okay, so why this matters now, we know a lot of you are, starting to plan, do your technology plans, your budget plans for the next school year. So, being aware of how we can help you not just simplify your life a little bit, hopefully save you a whole lot of time, and also, hopefully save you some money as well. We know that is incredibly important, really all the time, but especially these days with what education budgets are looking like. On top of all that, expectations for how we use technology and learning, how students can engage with technology, those expectations are growing and shifting all the time. So we kind of have noticed, and what we've heard from you guys, our customers, as well as the market at large, is the IT team is, everyone is really focused on of course learning outcomes, making sure that learning is engaging and safe for students, that they are achieving academically. But when it comes to technology specifically, IT teams, generally speaking, are going to be really focused on the security side of things, risk management and compliance. Instructional teams, of course, are focused on engagement, learning, and safety. And so keeping those students focused, data secure, all at the same time, sounds simple, but is actually extremely complicated, and that kind of ends up sitting in between. So the result, too many tools, a lot of complexity, inefficient use of time and resources, and higher technology costs. So in some cases, there's duplication of efforts between kind of the two sides of things. And so trying to align those expectations, those needs, and the actual implementation of tools can help improve use of time and also budget. So what we hear time and time again, customers and from the market at large, we need solutions that feel like extra help, not extra work. And so that is why we have continued to build out our product suite with the newest product to our suite, Classroom Manager. I think a lot of you have already heard a bit about it. hopefully we'll see some really cool new exciting things. If you have already looked into it in the past, we have some updates for you there as well. But really what we are trying to accomplish is bringing together again the Google and Microsoft cybersecurity, student safety across apps, Google, Microsoft, and the browser, and then helping with that classroom safety and management and engagement for teachers now as well with Classroom Manager. So without further ado, I know you're really here to hear from two people in particular, and that is Charles and Skip. So we're going to get into our product demo here. And first, Charles, Skip, can you introduce yourselves and we'll get into it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Katie. My name is Charles Mogan. I'm the manager of the product specialist team. I work very closely with our customers and new customers on a day-to-day basis. I've been with Managed Methods for 7 years, and I'm very excited to walk you through a couple of our different products today. And then I'm joined by my colleague here, Skip, who I will allow him to introduce himself.
Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, so I'm Skip Cooley. I've been with Managed Methods since October, and I joined coming out of the Clinton School District here in Clinton, Missouri. I was with the Clinton School District for 8 years before jumping ship and coming over to the dark side.
The dark side, I love it. Thanks, you guys. Let's get into it. And again, just a reminder for everyone, feel free to use the chat panel to, you know, share how you're using these tools and such. And then if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll get to those as well.
Thank you very
Hop
much,
into it.
Katie. So we're going to start today with classroom management. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Just one moment. There we go. That should be coming through clearly now. So I'm going to start with the interface on the teacher side here and show a little bit, and then I'll let Skip jump in here with points and things as well. But this is kind of the interface for our classroom management product. Our classroom manager product is tied directly to our content filter. Those are all connected together here. And then this is designed to be a really simple, easy to use screen for teachers to get started in looking at the student screens in a class. The product itself is an extension-based filter and an extension-based classroom manager product. The filter and the extension or the extension and the classroom manager are all in one there. So once the extension is pushed, the classroom manager works and the filter works as well too. I'll go ahead and use this first class as an example here. So this is say, an earth science class, for example. A couple things here I can do right away. I can come in and I can make some adjustments to that class. I can go ahead and change the name. I can also come in and add co-teachers. And this is a feature that a lot of customers have mentioned is very valuable, very useful in their day-to-day. Co-teachers will have full control of screens just like main teachers will. So it's a great way of there's a particular student issue or something like that, principal, somebody else to come view what's going on with things. Really easy way to go ahead and have somebody else also jump in and help out with that. In this demo environment here, I just have one student. Of course, that's not realistic. Most classes are going to have a bunch of students listed out here, but there is a way to come in here and quickly be able to add additional students as I need to a class, or remove students too if they're going to be out of the class or something of that nature there. And then this default scenes here. So the teacher control will be something called scenes, and scenes are going to be automatically applied via the classroom manager here. And then that's going to be what starts things off there. So in this case, there's an earth science scene, so that's immediately going to go ahead and open up some different tabs and set some things and set kind of the process for that class to start with there. So anything you'd like to add there, commentary wise, Skip?
No. Do you guys support rostering from other sources?
Yep, that's a great point. Thank you, Skip. So at the very bottom here, you're going to see we've got a number of different sources listed out for classrooms as well, too. So right now, supported is going to be Google Classroom. We also do support the one roster standard that a lot of SIS vendors are going to be using. Also have Schoology in here, Canvas. And then we, of course, support a more manual file upload style as well, too. Though that's something that's we don't try to do too often there, but is available in those situations where it is needed there.
The automation is always helpful.
Definitely, and yeah, Skip can definitely attest to automation being important there. As working at Clinton School District for all those years. So, additionally, on the classroom side too, teachers can pre-schedule their classes ahead of time, so they don't have to come in each day and manually start the class and get things going. For some classes, it might make more sense for that to be the case, but for especially in the upper grade levels, middle, high school, it's probably going to make sense where hey, they've got a pretty standard schedule where a fifth period class is going to be at this time. This is when things are going to be happening here. Schedules can also have a start date and an end date. When the semester changes over, you might say, okay, yep, now my fifth period class is going to be different, or I'm not teaching a fifth period class anymore. So you can go ahead and have those schedules run that way as well too. And then there is an ability to go back and look at the history of the class. We'll do that after we go ahead and actually run a classroom here. I'm going to go ahead and just do something really simple here. We'll just do this kind of 60-minute one. We're obviously not going to spend 60 minutes in here. You can also do custom durations as well too for the classroom manager. So then once I go ahead and press start here, my class has been started. I'll have to apologize. My screen is tilted, so it's going to look a little bit goofy, but you still get the idea there of what happens when a student joins. So here at the top, pretty basic. I'm in this main session. I can search for a specific participant. I can change the screen size if I want to. So in those situations where there's a bunch of kids in the class, there are ways to really minimize that screen size. A little bit more difficult to tell exactly what the kid's doing, but still able to get as many screens as possible on there. So the idea there, you want to be able to see all of those screens that the kids have. There is also an option for a list view. Probably not something most people are going to be using too often, but something that we do have available there as well. So then with the student screen itself, we're able to see what they're getting into here. We can hover over these favicon icons to quickly see what the students, other tabs the students might have open. I can screenshot the screen, which will save that as a local screenshot. I can also come in here too and close the tab that they currently have open. I can also kick the student from the class if I need to. So these are some helpful features there for teachers when students are in that class session and they are trying to take control of what the student might be getting into there. So, and with this one here, this session automatically launched with a number of websites automatically pushed out to the students. This is a really helpful way to start controlling that class immediately. So we've got some features that are called focus mode, which I'll show in a little bit as well. But it's a really nice way where we can kind of say, hey, the students are coming into the class. Maybe they've got tabs of YouTube open, or Skip can attest. There's all kinds of things kids can have open on their Chromebooks when they first walk into class there. So, but that's something that will be helpful in controlling what's going on in the class side of things there. So, anything you want to add there, Skip?
I mean, the focus mode is really kind of nice though, because then it also by locking them in, it helps to limit the tabs and close everything else that they have open. So you all have those students that like to open like 20 tabs and then wonder why their Chromebook isn't working properly.
Absolutely. So the way things will be controlled in Classroom Manager is going to be via scenes here. So you'll see I have this Earth Science scene that's been automatically applied. If I go into that scene, I'm able to see what sites are allowed currently. So it's just these 4 sites. I'm blocking all sites except for those. And then I could come in and add a site on the fly too if I needed to. So if it turns out, hey, my student needs this extra site, really easy to get that added. Or, hey, there's something else I need to go ahead and block, I could do that too. In this case, I don't have to worry about that because I'm blocking all sites. And then this is the focus mode that Skip was mentioning. So focus mode is going to go ahead and lock the students to these 4 specific tabs. The student tries to go to a different website, anything like that, it's going to automatically close that on the student's end as well. And then these scenes can be shared. So we can see here I've shared this scene over to Skip as well, so he has access to it. And you can choose what level of access people have to those scenes. They can have view access, editor access, or ownership access as well. So way to collaborate across as well too. And then there's always going to be a session default because if we actually do click into the screen of the student, we can go through and we can block tabs of the student. We can close tabs. We can also set things as active as well. So this is a really easy way to push the student over to a different web page. Going to be pretty fast to go ahead and set the student on the correct page that you want them on. And then you're able to see exactly what the student's doing. Then at the bottom, those same icons again available, and then the same ability to take a screenshot or go through and view the history or close things as well. And then I can always turn off a scene. So this delete doesn't actually delete the scene, but it just removes that scene. So then I could release the students back to whatever I wanted them to do now. So I could say, hey, I'm going to move on to a different scene. So I could create a brand new scene on the fly here and allow or block things. Or I could go into my existing scene library and add something from there as well too. So teachers can pre-build these scenes ahead of time, makes it really easy for them to apply stuff to the class on the fly or ahead of time as well too. And then towards the bottom here is going to be tabs. So this is where, Skip was mentioning, hey, they might have 20 tabs open of something, or they're getting into something they shouldn't be. So this block and close will close or block for everybody in the class. The block does block for everyone in the class as well, but the close will go ahead and close this tab for everybody, not just the one student there. So if you were seeing the student suddenly over on uh, on YouTube a bunch of times there, and they're just really going crazy with the duplicating tab option there for some reason. Um, we can see that reflected in there, and we can see, hey, they're going to YouTube here. They've got YouTube tabs open. I could come in here and I could close or block that as well too. So we can see, hey, they've got 7 tabs of YouTube open now. So you can see it's pretty snappy in responding to that, pretty snappy in figuring out what might be going on. And I could say, yeah, they're really not supposed to be on YouTube there. So go ahead and close that. All 7 tabs are going to close now. Now you see the students back just on those websites I want the student to be on there. So really easy way for the teachers to really control what's going on in the classroom that way. And then open tab here is a great way if the teachers need to push something out to the students as well. So simply just submit it and then pulls it right up. So really nice way to help handle those sorts of things there. And then at the bottom here, we'll have a chat functionality. So teachers can push out announcements, or they can push out chats to individual students as well. And students do have the ability to respond to that. There's a little extension icon there, and if the students were to click on it, it'll go ahead and show the chat, and then they're able to message back to a teacher. Oh, I can see there. So if the student messaged me back, I'm able to see that right here as well too, and that's reflected in here. So, and then the chats on the teacher side are going to be logged, so you're able to see what the teacher said in the class, what was going on that way too. But the idea here with Classroom Manager is it's supposed to be very easy, very simple to get people up and running, not too complicated on that end. So, anything else I'm missing there, Skipper, that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's pretty good. One thing to note too, when announcements do come through on the student Chromebooks, it shows it in the extension icon, but it also does show up in the notification tray down at the bottom right corner of the screen on the student's Chromebook as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll pull up as a Chrome notification, so a really nice way too to let students know, hey, this is what's happening in the class. Here's what's going on. Final feature we have on the Classroom Manager side is there's the ability to add child sessions or sub-sessions. These are sessions you can use for breakout room, teachers can use for breakout rooms, or can be used if there's one particular student that you need to keep a closer eye on or lock down. The nice thing with this is going to go ahead and pull that student over to that child session, but I can still see that student in the main session. So I now have kind of 2 ways I can keep an eye on the student. So if I've broken the students out to a bunch of different areas, I'm able to come back into that, into those different child sessions. I can take a peek at just those specific students if I want to, but I can always come back to that main session to see what everybody's doing as well too. So really nice way if there is a need to break out students or go ahead and lock a specific student down a little bit more closely, or potentially allow a few more things through. That's the other important thing too, because the Classroom Manager interfaces directly with the filter. If there's a site that would normally be blocked, but the teachers need it, it can be allowed through for that class session. And then once the class session ends, teacher will go back to normal there, or the browsing will go back to normal rather. So. Excellent. I think that's everything on the classroom side there. And then the nice thing too with Classroom Manager is a much newer product from Managed Methods, so we're always working on making enhancements and improvements. Certainly this is not a product where it's done and that's it. We're adding all kinds of new features. There'll be a new feature to allow teachers to present their screens that's coming pretty soon. So that's one of the other big new features that will be coming.
A couple of questions have come rolling in here, Chuck. So Jonathan asks, is there a view when they have more than one desktop?
It should be whatever the desktop that's active is that what we should be looking at. That's something that we've run across because we are extension based. There are some limits on what our capabilities are, but if they do have multiple desktops open, it should kind of show all the tabs still. It can look a little goofy, but there should be a way to see that still.
And then Daniel asks if it's just for Chromebooks with Chrome, or could it be used with Windows environments as well?
Yeah, it should work on Windows fine. Actually, I'm on Windows today as well. It just has to be on the Chrome browser or the Edge browser. It is browser based, so but yeah, Windows device works. Skip, you're on an app on Apple, and it works as long as you're on Chrome. We just don't support Safari or Firefox or some of those other browsers currently on the extension side.
All right. And then another question here from Cole, asking if there's a delay in showing the student screen, and if so, what's the accepted amount of time to wait for that student screen to show up?
Yeah, there's going to be a slight delay. It's not exact real time, unfortunately. That technology is not quite there yet. There is some latency as with everything. I believe it's about 10 seconds or so. There's a checker that's constantly checking in the background for changes on the screen, so it's pretty rapid. So if I move tab here, it'll take a couple seconds certainly to kind of show that new tab that the student's over to, but it will go ahead and show that tab. So there you go. So probably about between 7 to 10 seconds or so is typically about the latency on that.
And if we're tired of waiting, is there a way to try and manually push a refresh?
Um, Not anymore. There used to be a button here that did that, but I don't believe that manually does that anymore. It's the architecture on the back end now is constantly checking, so it'll just continuously keep checking there. So that button may be a way to go ahead and do that. But typically speaking, it'll just be the back end will be fast enough to go ahead and get that pulled through there.
All right, great.
Thank you, Skip. Great. So we'll go ahead and end the class session here on that end, and then that's going to go ahead and push us back to the main screen we were just on here. It'll take a moment to go ahead and end the session, but then we will go ahead and get pushed back out and say, hey, we don't have any active classes, so then we end back up on this main screen here. The other thing that teachers will have available in their teacher view is scenes. So scenes, again, is where they can create those various allows or blocks or things like that. So they can go in and modify existing scenes. They can certainly create new scenes on the fly as well too. So certainly that's all possible to do on the teacher end. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing here for a moment, and I'm going to switch over to the admin view and then also our content filter. All right. So on the admin side, you're going to have a little bit more control than a day-to-day teacher will, of course, because you need to be able to actually manage things. So one of the things that we have in here is the ability to go in, and you as an admin can start sessions. You can make modifications to sessions on the fly if you need to. You can also view which sessions are active, and if you need to, you can go in and end those active sessions too. So you can view the sessions that are active, and if someone's running a session that they shouldn't be anymore, or they forgot to turn off a session, you can come in here and end that for them as well. But this is what it looks like on an admin view. So you can see, I can see a lot more classes in here than just that one teacher's classes. So a lot more going on here overall. But this is the idea on the admin side, to be able to have more admin level control, more management control on the classes themselves. So that's the idea there. And scenes as well will be primarily the scenes of the one specific person. But if I go ahead and get rid of that, I can also see other people's scenes as well too, because I am an admin. So I can go through, and if I need to, I could help create a scene for somebody or modify someone's scene. So there's some options on that end as well too. So a lot more control on the admin side to help teachers out, assist them with potential issues there with their classes or getting stuff set up as well too. Great. So then this will be also our filter. So for an admin of filter and of classroom manager, you're going to have access to everything on this end. So the core of the filter side of things is going to be over here on the policy side. So to start with, we'll have an allow list. The way this is going to be set up is going to be based either on an organizational unit structure. So we'll base the policies on those different OUs and set them. This can also be based on groups. So we support custom groups. So if you do need to set up a custom penalty box or something like that, that's certainly very possible. We also do support Google groups as well too. It is something we have to turn on in the back end, but we can do that as well. So we can see here, I could have classroom teachers, so I could set policies for, in this case, just the classroom teachers if I wanted to, and any one part of that group would be impacted by it. And then the way the allow list works is I can come in and I can add a specific site. I can add wildcards to that site. The wildcards are more for a specific site where maybe it has additional parameters you want to add in, such as things like the example here we put games, but that'd be kind of the idea with the wildcards is for those scenarios where it's maybe a longer site or a bigger site that longer URL rather that you want to make sure that you're getting added in here. There's also options to categorize sites. This is going to be a little bit more for the block list side of things there, but there's an option on that end as well too. And then there is an ability to import in from a global list. This would be our global list of sites. So if I said, hey, I may be blocking all webmail, but I want to let through Gmail, I could come in here and I could go ahead and transfer Gmail over. If I select it, I could transfer Gmail over and I could add that as an allowed site just on the fly very quickly this way as well too. So if there's concerns that I might be blocking a category like webmail, but I want to let through all the other websites, I could come through and transfer those other ones over to an allow list if I needed to as well.
A quick question there, Chuck.
Absolutely.
John asked if there's any future release on setting up class periods so that the classes would turn on automatically and teachers wouldn't have to set up the schedules.
Not quite yet. In the future potentially, but not in the current version of Classroom Manager. There'd be some more stuff we'd need to be able to pull on that end with rostering data. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then you can go through and update your sites or delete your sites as well. So easy way to go ahead and manage things. There's also an ability to import from a file as well too. So if you have a list of existing sites, you can certainly go ahead and bring that over as well too. And then we do support categories as well. Categories, again, really in Content Filter here are more designed for the block list side of things. So a lot of stuff that you'd probably end up blocking or you potentially don't want your users to access there on that end. And then the block list side of things is going to be a little bit more interesting here. So on the block list side, we're going to list out, of course, the various sites that you want to get added. So you can do that. There's an option to mute the violation. So there may be some instances where you decide, it's great I'm blocking this site, but I don't necessarily need to know every single time that I'm blocking that site that the kids are hitting that. So maybe you say, hey, I'm blocking some kind of service or something that's running in the background or something like that. And I want to go ahead and make sure it doesn't pop up every single time. That's where mute violation might make a lot of sense there on that end. There's also options to configure notifications on a per site basis if you wanted some notification emails. The notification emails are really just links back into the platform primarily, but that is something that can be scheduled as well. Those can be either immediate notifications or they can be set up on a specific time each day as well. So definitely some flexibility on getting notifications on a per site basis. Probably for most sites, you're not going to be adding on a per site basis notifications, but an option there that's available. And then same idea here, we can come in and add specific sites. There's wildcards in here. So for example, maybe you're saying, hey, anything that's google.com, that's sites or something like that, I might want to be blocking those google.com. And if it contains games somewhere in the site, I want to block it. That'd be a great example of where the wildcards will be really helpful. So you can do contains, equals, starts with, ends with. So there's some flexibility on that wildcard end as well too there. And then an option also, if you really need to block all sites, probably not something you're going to be doing too often, but for those specific custom groups or things like that, where you say, hey, this student is on an allow list only, it is very possible to go ahead and then do that kind of block sites and then just set up that specific allow list there. And again, options in here to import from the global list of sites or the file option as well. And then we also, of course, do support various categories in here. You can come in and grab any category you want there. You can also preview the sites. You can search the sites here as well, too. So if you say in the audio video category, hey, I'm looking for a specific site, you can search for it here, make sure it's in that category there as well, too. And of course, you can do that on the global side as well, too. So if you're looking for a specific site that's in our list, go ahead and search for it and make sure that that's in there. Or, hey, what category is that going to be categorized as ahead of time there? And then same idea here where notifications can be set up as well. You can preview sites on that end. So those are all options there as well. And then have some options on the search term side. That's also a possibility to set up too. And then one of the other things that the filter has integrated into it are what we call risks. So this is a way where the platform is going to be looking at input detection. So when somebody types something into Google, into Gmail, things like that, the platform is going to be looking for those specific inputs. There's two primary inputs, toxicity risk and self-harm. Again, the notifications here are more for just providing access into the platform at the moment there. So do keep that in mind, but that is something that we do have available as well too if we need to be looking for some of those kinds of things. And again, this can be set on a specific OU level as well too. And then the platform does support custom risks. So if there's specific kind of terminology or things you're looking to add, very easy to get that added into the platform as well too. Something that can be really helpful. You could do anything from, hey, I'm concerned people might be cheating on some tests to, of course, the more traditional student safety concerns to something else just specific that might be a problem there. And again, notifications can be configured in a bunch of different spots here as well. And then we do have some YouTube functionality. Our primary functionality on the YouTube side is going to be complementing what you're doing on the YouTube Safe Search or whatever settings you've changed on the YouTube side. So some ability to go in and allow or block specific sites, block all sites, of course. There's some channel options, keywords, which will be the video hashtags. We can drop videos into YouTube and analyze them, which allows you to go ahead and say block a specific video that you found, that someone found or someone sent your way that might be cause for concern there. So if I we'll grab a random video here, not so random, but this is a good example one here. So we could go in and say, hey, look, here's game highlights from the NFL. So I could allow or block that specific video title. I could also allow or block the NFL specifically. The NFL didn't put any hashtags on this video, so I don't have to allow or block any of those specifically, but some easy ways where I can go ahead and do that as well. And then lastly, there's abilities to block the sidebar, the live chat, and the comments too, to keep the kids just on the specific videos. But that's kind of the idea there, is to help complement what you might already have in place on the YouTube side and lock some things down further. The nice thing too is that any of these video blocks or channel blocks or keyword blocks, these are also going to apply to any embedded content that the students might run across or that they might have embedded into, say, a a Google Docs or slides or sheets like that. So that's something that the platform will do a nice job of keeping an eye out for as well. And then there's some functionality on the schedule side. I won't get into that too much, but there are ways if you're a state where, hey, we don't want to be monitoring during certain hours or things like that, or hey, when the students go home, it's completely on the parents to monitor. There's options that way too to turn the filter on and off as well. And then violations will be the section here where we can look and see what users are getting into as a whole. So the platform holds on to about a month's worth of data here for these violations, and then we can go through and see what's getting flagged here. So we can see here, this is an example of a risk that got picked up. For anything that's been flagged by the self-harm machine learning model there that you saw earlier, it's going to go ahead and give a reasoning behind that, and then also an ability to report those as false positives too, if it's something that you're not concerned about. Additionally, then we'll just list out block lists, things that are on the block list as well, and whatever else we might be running across here. And then there's ways to sort through that very easily with URLs based stuff, which will be primarily the block list. We can look at input specifically if there were any specific searches as well too. And then if anyone's doing inputs into ChatGPT or Gemini or things like that, we'll be picking up on that as well too. So some different ways we can separate out the data and make it a little bit easier to take a look at. And then there's a handy report button on here to export that information out as a CSV or a PDF or even schedule a report to go out. And then all of these different filters and search parameters can be used in conjunction with each other to really narrow down what you're looking at on the violations page. You can also use the violations page to look at all browsing activity. You just simply turn off the toggle, and then it would go through and look at all the various activity types there just as a whole. So we would see all the various searches here as a whole, and inputs to potentially as well. But that's the idea on the filtering side there, designed to be lightweight, easy to get running, and then provide some power to block things and get things handled there.
Another question just came in there, Chuck.
Absolutely.
Domenica asks, does this have the same capabilities for schools that are 100% virtual?
As long as the extension can get pushed out. Again, we are extension based, so as long as the extension gets pushed out and they're required to, say, use the Chrome browser or the Edge browser, absolutely. They do have to be using a specific profile. We wouldn't be filtering all profiles or anything like that, but whatever is connected to their specific school issued account, we would be able to push that extension to and filter. Excellent. Final thing here, just really briefly to touch on, there's also, of course, a way, as you'd imagine, to take a look at things on the account side here, where we can jump into a specific user, get a little bit more information about what's going on the account itself, and we can also take a look at some stuff on the device side as well too. We can also report a device as lost or stolen, which will lock that Chrome browser down until you go ahead and mark it as not lost or stolen anymore. So really handy on the Chromebook side if there is an issue where a Chromebook gets misplaced or lost there. All right. Excellent. I think that's the kind of core stuff we wanted to cover on the filter side today. Obviously, you can't go through every single feature functionality point, but those are really the core points there on the filter side. But yeah, the idea is a lightweight, easy to get up and running filter there. Um, and then, of course, like any product, the product's always evolving, always adding new feature, new functionality there as well too. And a lot of that's driven by our customers. Our customers will request things, ask for things, and that's something that we pride ourselves on is being responsive to customer feedback and responsive to the needs of folks in K-12 there, because that's the goal of these products. These products are designed to be for you there. All right, I'm going to stop sharing one more time here, and then I will pull up our last product we're going to touch on, which is one lots of people are familiar with. It is our cloud monitor. So this is Cloud Monitor. This is the flagship product of Managed Methods, the one that everybody knows us for. This is the one where we're looking at activity in the Google Workspace, the Microsoft 365 environment. This is where we're looking at things at the account level. So certainly on Filter and Classroom, we're looking at things at more the device URL level, but this is where we're going to be looking at activity at the account level. So what are students getting into in Drive files? What are staff members sharing or sending around? So this product isn't just focused in on the students; it's focusing on the students and the staff.
Oh, one last question there about the classroom. The devices listed there, are they listed by serial number?
For Chromebooks, they will be listed by MAC address, and then the serial number would appear below that MAC address if you are using Google's device management.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Skip. So Cloud Monitor here, it's really going to be more focused on the account side, but this is where it's also going to help out with the staff side because unfortunately, Google and Microsoft are fantastic resources, but there are some issues sometimes that people don't realize. One of the things that we see a lot of, unfortunately, are situations like people missharing files or sending emails that contain information to the outside that they shouldn't be. So this is where we have a section called risks. It's going to be somewhat similar to what we see maybe over on the filter side a little bit, but this is going to be more focused on everybody. So we will certainly have some student safety risks that can be turned on for the student side, but we're also going to have quite a few things that can be turned on the staff side. So we're looking for credit card numbers, social security numbers, maybe IEP information, things of that nature. And then when we find things, we can click into it and take a look at that information very rapidly and understand what's happening with the incident or the situation. And this is probably one of the biggest issues that Skip and I run across in the field, and it's the missharing of IEP information or other sensitive data. Google makes it just so easy to share with people, and Microsoft does to a degree as well, but Google especially. And this anyone with the link share permission type is a really bad way that people share things. They're trying to share something quickly. They're trying to share something to somebody that's going to be easy for them to access, but then they share it in such a way where, well, if this link gets out there, anyone else could access it. And that's kind of the issue here. There's really not any reason to have sensitive data shared in this way. It's just an unnecessary risk there. But we can quickly see here, here's the problem. Here's what's going on with the incident or issue here. Some actions here. I can clear it out from the risks tab if it's something I've handled. I could pull the file from the user if I need to via the quarantine function. I could completely delete the file from the domain entirely. Probably not something you would end up doing in this situation. I could also share via email, so I could contact the person. I could put in them in as the recipient. I could write a subject and I could say, hey, you shared an IEP where anyone with the link can access it. Can you go ahead and please update your share permissions there? I can also pull down a local copy of it to take a look at it a little bit more closely as well, too. So those are all options and flexibility there on diving into the risk side of things. And that's going to be one of the core parts of Cloud Monitor is going out and looking for things within Drive files, within Gmail, within shared Drive files that might be cause for concern. We unfortunately do see a lot of that on both the staff and student side. It's an area that people sometimes don't think about as much, but if your users are using Drive files or OneDrive files, they're probably creating all kinds of different things. There's all sorts of different stuff people will use their Drive files for. Staff sometimes will also get into the bad habit of using their Drive for personal business. I've seen documents that have kids and parents' social security numbers in it, and their credit card numbers, and their Costco number, or their Sam Club Sam Club's number, all kinds of stuff where just there's no reason for that file to be being held in the district drive in the first place. So the risks can be really helpful in identifying that. Something else we look at as well too is going to be login activity and login data. Um, Certainly, it's good to have things like conditional access in place, but managed methods and Cloud Monitor in particular will do a nice job of keeping an eye on that, even if something happens where for some reason somebody slips through. Or in the case of Google, Google does their conditional access a little bit differently. There's kind of two processes. There's um, the way they do it is they reject the server or they lock the services that people are able to access, but they don't necessarily reject the login event itself. So that's something that's important to keep in mind that, hey, Google has their kind of own way of doing it. Microsoft's a little bit more standard of, hey, it just cuts off the login event there. So, but both have kind of their own ways of doing it. But this is where Cloud Monitor can be really helpful in identifying, okay, where are people accessing their account from? Is there somebody who's getting into an account that shouldn't be? So we've got some ways we'll be able to identify those that information there. So we'll list out IP addresses, of course, usernames, event types, and we can even go ahead and run the event against the Have I Been Pwned database here to see if they're part of any publicly known about VPNs or proxies or things like that as well too. We also have a feature that will be coming out soon if you are a Cloud Monitor customer to be able to show VPN IP addresses as well. So that's something that we're excited about to be adding here too. But the idea here is to try to keep an eye on accounts. So by the default, the platform is going to look for successful logins from outside the United States, or in the case of Google, suspicious successful logins. Google does have an additional event type there as well too. So, but those are all things that can be really helpful to keep an eye on. Also really valuable on the student side as well. A lot of districts are going to have, you should have MFA on your staff members there or be working towards that. That's a really valuable thing. Skip can certainly attest to MFA being a good thing. But MFA is also not perfect. That's the other important thing to think about too. I've had two districts in the past couple years where somebody accepted one of those device prompts on their phone. They just clicked on it, they said yes, and then I'll let Skip jump in here on that one, but that's something that we do unfortunately see.
Yeah, MFA is great as long as your users are not just click happy and just select yes for everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, in that case, the users were click happy. They just accepted yes, and then suddenly they had login events from all over the place because the account had been compromised. So that's where it's good to be aware of that sort of thing, and then be able to investigate that further. So that's where this accounts information and this login information will be really valuable. And then we have some really easy ways we can come in and run reports off of Google and say, what was the user getting into in drive activity or login activity or things of that nature there. So a lot of powerful information on that end. And then on the staff side, we also look into the OAuth token activity of users. This is something that's now more of a staff problem than a student problem. It used to be a really big student problem, but Google made some great changes over the years where they said, hey, students can't just authorize anything at will anymore. They got to go through that approval process. But on the staff side, if you're not doing that process, this can be really helpful in identifying what's out there in the first place, who's using that application, what permissions did they grant to the application. And then if you say, hey, I don't want this in here, you can revoke it. And then in the platform, we can also set up policies as well to continuously revoke those OAuth tokens moving forward as well. So this can be very powerful to lock things down there on that end. So final thing I'll end here with on the Cloud Monitor side is probably one of our features that we're most known for there. Apologies there. Is going to be our live email search. So the live email search is going to be a live API call search. We also have one over on the Drive file side in Google. This is also available in Outlook as well, but this will be a live API call throughout the whole domain to track down whatever specific emails you're looking for. As long as the account hasn't been deleted or the account isn't suspended or the email hasn't been deleted, they should track this email down for you. Great for mass deletions and things like that as well. So, all right. I know we are to our 45-minute mark there. Certainly, there's a lot more in Cloud Monitor. Cloud Monitor is a very in-depth product. There's a lot of feature functionality it has. Things like Classroom is great if you're using Google Classroom. Lots of information that can be found in Drive files and OneDrive files as well. So, well, great. With that, I'm going to go ahead and if there's questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I know we've been kind of answering those questions as we've gone along there, but if there are any additional questions here, now's a great time to put them in. We'll answer those here before we wrap things up.
Say one thing I would add to go along with the apps there real quick is that when Google enacted those under 18 policies for Google Apps, it didn't sign anybody out of anything that they were already existing with connections to their accounts. So this is a really great way to see, if something's still connected, students may still be able to sign into apps that they were logging into before those rules went into effect. So then we're actually able to break those tokens and those connections and be able to keep those kids from getting back into those apps. And one last question there. Do you have a DNS filtering option for TVs and iOS devices yet?
Not quite yet, unfortunately. Is on the feature list there to be getting added. So definitely something that we're aware of there for sure, and appreciate that question. All right.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Charles and Skip, for joining us, and for all you attendees for joining us today. Just in our final moments here, want to make sure you're all aware we do provide free proof of concept. So if you're interested in any or all of our products, please feel free to reach out. You'll hear from a rep in your area, and then you will also be able to work with Charles or Skip or one of our other product specialists to help configure that proof of concept, try to figure out sort of what's going to work best for your district and your needs. And yeah, go from there. We also do provide with Cloud Monitor a free security and safety audit. So if you just want to get in and see, what are some of these risks that Charles just went through that I want to see if I have in my environment, we'll do that for free. You'll be able to run it for 30 days. And again, you'll get support from our team as well on that. So definitely encourage you to sign up for a free proof of concept, and we look forward to hearing from you all. Thanks again.